Chapter 113 Lid's Monster Part 2. The monster darted towards Lid faster than a bullet, taking everything he threw at it. Burning prison. Lid's personal tier 4 spell conjured 6 fireballs, 1 above, 1 below, and 4 around the creature, detonating at the same time. The head exploded and regenerated. The limbs got turned to shreds, but all the pieces managed to reattach themselves before the blast could scatter them away. Lightnings burned its flesh and burst its heart. More icicle pierced its body. None of it managed to even slow it down. Yet recovering from all that damage took its toll. The creature's body had become thinner, while the talons fell, leaving the creature fists that struck Lid with the might of a titan, uncaring of his footwork and the technique he used to deflect part of their force. Despite being hardened by earth fusion, Lid's right arm shattered at the ulna, the humerus, and the radius. Bone segments pierced the muscle and skin, the white of the bone glittering under the sun because of the blood dripping on them. Lid got blinded by the pain, his eyes watering like waterfalls, yet managed to remain conscious, once again being saved by his relentless paranoia. He knew that being a true mage was not enough, that being prepared was not enough. The new world was a big place. He was bound to meet sooner or later someone capable of hurting him for real. Among his trial and error experiment on himself, he had learned how to use darkness magic to cut his pain receptors. And that's what he did at the moment he realized that all he had was not enough to stop a single punch of the monster of his own creation. Lid also jumped sideways at the last second, borrowing the strength from the heat to put some distance between them. While flying through the air, he kept casting as fast as he could, making all kinds of spells rain down on his pursuer. Even with only his left arm remaining, he managed to land another 4 explosions before the creature caught up, striking again, this time at his chest. Lid felt his rib cage collapse, spitting blood, realizing that even breathing had become an excruciating torture. The Ragul thing lifted him by the neck, licking every single drop of the precious liquid, feeling its strength returning. Both of them were wheezing, their expressions distorted, but while Lid was desperate, Lid's monsters was triumphant, using its unnaturally long tongue to lap all the blood dripping from his face. Lid used that precious moment to wave a final spell, and when the monster opened its mouth to tear his neck open, he managed to conjure an icicle inside it, so that when the jaw attempted to close on him, it pierced its tongue, palate, and brain. The creature didn't care for it, not until realizing that it could not bite. The monster simply grabbed and pulled the icicle out, uncaring for its own wounds, accelerating the decay process. Its eyes withered and rolled into the skull, leaving only the red light of undead behind. The fangs finally bit Lid's neck. Blood sprayed out of his jugular, but then the jaw fell off, shortly followed by the creature's right arm holding the prey no more. Lid's monster emitted an angry gurgle, drool flooding its mouth, right before the whole corpse dried out and collapsed on the ground, turning into ashes. "In your face, Mary Shelley," Lid thought, casting all the healing spells he could manage before falling onto the ground, sprawled like a rag doll. After so much pain and struggling, Lid finally felt at peace. His vision blurred until everything went black. He could feel all his anxieties, all his fears and traumas fading away. The pounding ache from the wounds was reduced to a dull sensation, no longer important. He just wanted to sleep and forget about everything. But from a corner of his mind, something kept tugging at Lid's consciousness, refusing to give up. A part of him was fighting the stupor, knowing he would never wake up from that slumber. Solus tried non-stop to reach his mind through the numbing pain and exhaustion, but to no avail. He had gone too far. The wounds were too deep. The only thing she could do was use her own mana to keep his condition stable. Yet, with only a yellow mana core to back her endeavor, she was just delaying the inevitable. Finally, light fusion was able to purify the wounds from the dark energy festering them, allowing all healing spells Lid had previously cast to kick in. The bleeding stopped, the wounds were severe, but no more life-threatening, at least for the moment. Lid was now able to hear Solus' voice, to grab the light of her will and use it with his own to finally open his eyes. Waves of searing pain were still ravaging his battered body, but he couldn't afford to heal himself. Not only he had little mana left in these current conditions, even light spell would add strain to his body, potentially killing him. Gritting his teeth to endure the agony of each breath, he used invigoration to both assess his condition and gain the energy he needed to survive. Commute fractures all over the ribcage, commute and open fractures of the right arm, minor internal bleeding, bones cracked and open wounds. I doubt I would still be alive without Light's fusion regenerating factor and your help, Solus. Thank me later. First fix your chest. If any of the bone fragments pierces your lungs, it's over. Invigoration was an incredible tool, but it wasn't perfect. To use it, it required to remain still, focusing his mind and spirit to align the manacore with the world's energy surrounding him. The slightest distraction would sever the connection. That was the reason why he couldn't use it during battles. Otherwise, he would have access to an endless supply of mana. Following Solus' advice, he used light and spirit magic to collect all the scattered bones fragments, rebuilding his ribcage. The process was slow and painful, but he couldn't make haste. His own life was on the line. After that, he had to take care of his hunger. Invigoration could make up for the lost stamina and mana, but recovering from so many wounds required nutrients. The right arm was still a mess, but with the pain receptors disconnected, it was bearable. Lid felt like he had been fasting for a week, his head light and dizzy. He took food out of his pocket dimension, wolfing it down as fast as his left arm allowed him to. Light magic was accelerating his metabolism to the extreme. The food digested as soon as it entered his stomach. Time was of the essence. He walked up to Rodimas, removing her gag to get his answer. Who sent you here, and why?